Welcome back to another video over here on SCS Combat, and today we're going to be giving you my main card predictions for UFC 319 going down this weekend, Saturday, August 16th. Dricus du Plessis defending his middleweight title against Khamzat Chimaev. Great card here. We've got stacked undercard, a lot of good names on this here. You got Chase Hooper, got Azim Barbosa, Jessica Andrade, Brian Battle. There's a guy who just won this Tuesday on Dana White's Contender Series, is making a 4-day turnaround. He won on Tuesday, he's fighting on Saturday. Bangasur Susikev, shout out to him. He's taking on Eric Nolan on the prelims, so great fights in the prelims. But we'll give you my main card picks for today. So starting off with Tim Elliott and Kai Asakura. Kai Asakura was in K1, I believe. Come over and got a media title shot against Alexander Pantoja. That did not go his way. He got submitted by a rear neck choke. He showed some, good skills. Great kickboxer, that's his style. So it was kind of sound that obviously once a guy like Pantoja got him down, that would be it. And we all know how good Pantoja is anyway. So 21 and 13 for Tim Elliott, 5'7", 66-inch reach, 21 and 5. 5'8" and 69-inch reach, so 3-inch reach advantage for Kai Asakura. He's a striker here. I'm pretty sure Tim Elliott is a striker as well. We go to the grappling. Tim Elliott shoots about 3-4 takedowns per 15-minute fight. Kai Asakura got 0 right now. 0 takedown accuracy. Tim Elliott, good takedown accuracy. Good defense for both men, over a 50% rate, so you can't really complain. But I feel like they're both kind of strikers. And if that is where the fight takes place, I feel like the heavy favourite here would have to be Kai Asakura. That was what he was known for in the other promotion when he came over, and that's what got him an immediate title shot, is that striking. So you see here, Tim Elliott lands more strikes per minute. He comes in at a 3.4 rate, whereas Kai Asakura comes in at a 2.4 rate. Kai Asakura throws more significant strikes, but he absorbs more strikes, which isn't good for him. But he's got a lower rated defense as well. Yeah, the only way I see it, I think Tim Elliott is a great fighter. I think he's been about in the UFC for a very, very long time. But I do think I'm going to go with Kai Asakura here. Tim Elliott is a tough fighter, good fighter. Obviously, I feel like he could get it to the ground and get the victory. But I do think if this one stays striking, I think they're both predominantly strikers. I think you do see Tim Elliott get this one done, I think you do see Kai Asakura get this one done. Potentially by finish, he throws some dangerous strikes, throwing flying knees and stuff in that Pantoja fight. But I think it could be, we'll go with decision. We'll give Tim Elliott his dues, we'll go with decision. Moving on to the next bout. This one's something. So Jared Cannonier is taking on Michael Venom Page. Now, this is going to be unbelievable. So Jared Cannonier, heavy veteran in the UFC. I'm pretty sure he fought at heavyweight, light heavyweight, and now at middleweight. Coming off a knockout win via Gregory Rodriguez, Robocop. Great fighter himself there. And Michael Venom Page is coming off a win, I believe, against Shar Magomedov. So both guys coming off a win here. And both guys mainly strikers as well. MVP is pretty much only a striker. Jared Cannonier can probably mix in a takedown or two, but heavy-handed boxer kind of. Both men with below a 0.5 takedown average over 15 minutes. So that probably won't be happening. Good takedown defense for both, but that is how you have seen Michael Venom Page be beat with a guy like Ian Gary, who just took him down and held him there. Now this is where it gets interesting. So significant strikes. Now Jared Cannonier has a higher landing percentage here, or higher landing per minute rate. Michael Venom Page has below a 2 ratio for getting, or 4 strikes absorbed. We all know the way he fights that karate stance. It's incredibly difficult to hit him sometimes, especially in striking. If that's what you're so used to and so used to being better than everyone at, it's gonna be difficult for you against the Michael Venom Page, because this is his thing. This is stand up is his game. We always see him just waiting for that counter. The guy that caught him out, Douglas Lima, hit him with a leg kick and took his feet from underneath him, uppercut, caught him on the ground, put him out. But I think MVP has learned how to, take that knockout and use it as benefit, take that into his game, as he controls the range, wait for you to throw a leg kick, feint, and then land something big. We all know he loves to throw a flying knee or a big spinning elbow, a huge shot going in. Jack Cannonier, from what I've seen, I think he's going to struggle. Obviously, they're both towards the tail end of their careers, maybe, but I think MVP has more left. I think Jared Cannonier, the way he strikes, the way he fights, sometimes maybe he's not going to be. I think he's going to struggle finding the timing of MVP. And I think unless he does get something off like Lima, where you just catch MVP off guard, I do think Michael Van Page is going to take this one, so I'm going to take Michael Van Page. I'm going to go by knockout, but it's a difficult one because he's so like hesitant. Like he doesn't really go forward apart from when he's countering. Oftentimes he doesn't land enough to get a knockout, but maybe he can land one big shot here and take Jared Cannonier out. So we'll go with that there. Michael Van Page by knockout. Moving on to the next bout. This is another guaranteed banger right here. Jeff Neal taking on Carlos Prates. Now Carlos Prates, as we all know, one of the fighting nerds, nicknamed the Nightmare, and for a lot of people he was that there until he took on Ian Gary on short notice, I believe, and unfortunately for him it didn't go to plan. Ian Gary outstruck him and used his grappling as well, and then in the fifth round, before Carlos Prates, after losing possibly every other round, come back and near finished Ian Gary, but Ian Gary was able to move and get out of there. So he still carries that power late into the fights. It was a main event. That was the fifth round. So 25 minutes in and he can still crack. And I don't even think he hit Ian Gary with that big of a shot possibly. So really heavy handed, and we all know the fighting nerds, the most hyped up MMA group, MMA gym in UFC. So on the other hand, Jeff Neal, now we all know him, once again a UFC veteran. Great fighter himself, couple of great wins. You look at his fights against guys like Shavkat Rakhmonov, although he got finished in the end, put on a great showing. And I remember him near enough dropping Shavkat as well, which obviously is impressive because up until the Gary fight, Shavkat had finished everyone and hadn't even been in a close fight, and Jeff Neal was the guy to bring that to him. No, he's not finished in any shape or form. Jeff Neal, if you are going to get caught in IOA, Jeff Neal's a hard hitter, you go through it here. Both guys not really grappling. You see a 0.56 takedown per 15 minutes for Jeff Neal and a 0.25 for Carlos Prates. You see Carlos Prates has landed all of his takedowns, so I don't know how many takedowns he's actually shot, but I don't think it's much, but fair enough. Good takedown defense for both as well. No one's really going for submissions, so once again, this is expected to be a striking bout. Jeff Neal has the higher, like everything he has is over 50% or over a 5, whereas Carlos Prates is lower than that. But I do think that's because Jeff Neal has been in the UFC for longer, and maybe Carlos Prates hasn't had enough fights to reach these stats, because we all know how hard he hits. You see that fight against Neil Magny, where Carlos Prates barely clipped him and put him out cold. That's an example of it. So Jeff Neal, 5 strikes landed per minute. There are 5 significant strikes landed per minute. Carlos Prates will go 4. Both land their significant strikes at over a 50% rate. Both absorb a good amount of strikes and both have alright defense. I do think you take Carlos Prates here. He's young, he's up and coming. Alright, he's lost, but at the end of the day, that was to another young up and coming fighter. Or someone like Jeff Neal, although he hits hard, we haven't really seen much from him in a while. So obviously he has that potential then to damage Carlos Prates here, but I don't think it's going to happen. So I'm going to take Carlos Prates to get the win done via knockout. Alright, so the co-main event, Lerone Murphy is going to be taking on Aaron Pico. Now Aaron Pico is another one of those guys coming over from Bellator, which makes it interesting because, as we've seen in the debut of Patchy Mix and Patricio Pitbull, that when guys come in from Bellator, they tend to freeze up in their first bout in the UFC. That is obviously an interesting factor because even though there's a lot of hype around the name of Aaron Pico, it could be the same for him. Lerone Murphy, undefeated, number 6 ranked at featherweight, taking on an unranked guy, so fair play. This is a brilliant opportunity for Murphy as well, though, because he's never really been a really big name or been given an opportunity. So now that he's in the co-main event, it's a good opportunity for him. He had a great performance last time out against Josh Emmett, screwed him, and now he's moving on, taking on Aaron Pico. A lot of people might question this decision, but I do think it pushes his name into title contention because he took this fight on short notice and went on to potentially win. 69% TKO rate for Aaron Pico. Now that's extremely high. So really good hands. I was watching earlier on, he's a great wrestler and has that boxing as well, so really good mixed martial artist. Lerone Murphy is not usually considered a KO artist, whereas Aaron Pico might be, and a brawler from what I've seen, so that has gone against him in the past and could go against him here because Leon Murphy's a really sharp striker. And it's the biggest opportunity he's got in UFC so far. He's not gonna let it go to waste. Not a chance. Undefeated for Leroy Murphy, 13-4 for Aaron Pico. Height advantage Murphy 1 inch. Reach advantage Murphy 3 inches. It's his leg reach Murphy 39 inches. Aaron Pico 0. So I mean, if that's right, it won't be a good night for Aaron Pico. But I'm gonna pick Leon Murphy here. I think a top level UFC guy is gonna show once again. And I think there's possibility that even if Aaron Pico doesn't freeze, I think there's just a different level in the UFC, a different level of competition. I do think Leroy Murphy is gonna get it done. I'm going to take him by decision in this one. So moving on finally to the main event of the evening. The reigning defending champion Dricus du Plessis coming off the back of a title defense against Sean Strickland. So obviously we know now DDP won the belt off Strickland, beat Adesanya, beat Strickland again. So, as we've seen, beat Robert Whittaker, beat Darren Till. He's took on some great fighters and beat them all. Some great champions of the past, some great title contenders of the past. Beat every one of them. Derek Brunson as well. That was rough. Threw in the towel. The biggest story here, Khamzat Chimaev, 14-0, undefeated. And as we all know his style, he will shoot a takedown from the other side of the octagon. He has that much confidence that he's going to get it. Whereas DDP, who knows? Who knows? That is DDP's style. You do not know what's coming next. Who knows? Khamzat doesn't know. DDP doesn't know. We don't know. We're gonna find out though. It's worked so far. DDP is the most random guy ever. I remember watching him coming up, and I was like, there's no way he gets near that title because surely someone just chins him. Apparently not. Chin is unreal. Got his cardio fixed, and now he's a machine, unpredictable machine. As we see here, knockdown average, Khamzat has hands as well. Khamzat's a heavy hitter. Khamzat has a 43% knockout chance, a 43% sub, and a 14% decision. So I think a decision in this fight's unlikely unless DDP. I think if Khamzat's gonna win, I don't think it'll be by decision. We see here with the significant strikes, DDP lands hard on guys. You see him hurt Adesanya, and it's the unpredictability of those strikes, even against the most technical strikers there has been. One of the best strikers there's been in Adesanya. DDP was able to land at moments and hurt him. These are hard clubbing shots. You kind of see DDP throws with all his weight behind him. He lands 6 significant strikes per minute, so that's a lot. But to see him Khamzat coming in at 5 significant strikes per minute. Significant strike land rate 50% near to both of them. Dricus absorbs more strikes, which makes sense considering Khamzat's style of just going in and ragdolling some to the canvas, but DDP does have better defense. And we go to the grappling stats here. I mean, you see DDP has been able to take people down before and utilize that. He submitted Adesanya. He submitted Darren Till, used that as a way to break Darren Till down when Darren Till was beating him on the feet. He got the takedowns and beat him. However, you have to expect the grappler in this fight will be Khamzat Chimaev. I've seen DDP say in interviews that he's going to wrestle with him. He's not just going to let him dictate when he gets him down, that he's just going to wait for him to tire out or do something. Khamzat has 100% takedown defense, so he's never been tucked down. 46% takedown accuracy. High submission average, high takedown average as well. Both men, like DDP has a higher takedown accuracy than Khamzat, but has half the takedown defense and to -2 on the submission average as well per 15 minutes. As we all know, last time out for Khamzat, Chimaev took Robert Whittaker down and put him in a neck crank that just put Robert Whittaker's jaw in the middle of his mouth. Like, I don't even know what was happening there. You see the photo, probably won't be able to show it on YouTube. It's a bit mental, even for the UFC. Robert Whittaker's 3 front teeth just sitting in the middle of his mouth. Khamzat is a brutal fighter, but the main question is, cardio is just going to be elite in this one. DDP's cardio is actually alright now. He just has this he's not willing to give up no matter what. He just keeps going forward. It's insane. So even if it gets a bit sloppy at points, he's still going. And you can tell he's never really fully gassed out. He's still going. I know it's confusing sometimes. Whereas Khamzat, is always undefeated. It's not like he's never been in any close fights. You could argue that he lost that fight to Kamaru Usman. If that fight was a 5-round fight, he definitely would have lost. Dominated the first round in that one and then just had no cardio in the last 2. Whereas you see a guy like DDP, he's able to avoid situations like that there. Even when he did get tired, he was able to keep going and break guys down with no gas tank left. Khamzat, I mean, we all know what to expect. He's gonna, like Tom Aspinall would say he'd do to Pereira, he's gonna run in and shoot a takedown. Obviously we all know he has hands as well. I'm pretty sure he knocked out Gerald Meerschaert in one shot. DDP has the reach, Khamzat has the height, both separated by an inch on both them stats. DDP has the longer leg reach, probably just isn't even a good thing against Khamzat. It's more for him to grab onto. Odds on this one. So Khamzat Chimaev is the favourite in this, which is interesting. You don't really see a defending champion going in as the underdog, but DDP is this time around. Average fight time 14 minutes compared to 6 minutes, so that kind of tells the story. Khamzat's a wrecking ball. You see in that fight with Gilbert Burns as well, though, that Khamzat can be, his chin can be touched a wee bit, and then maybe his striking isn't the best at times. I'll be honest, probably going to go against the grain here. I'm picking the underdog. I'm picking Dricus Plessis. I mean, the people he has beat, the level of champions and former title contenders he's come past every style there's been, and obviously this could be the most difficult one yet with that wrestling, but I do think, I mean, Khamzat's last fight was that Kamaru Usman fight, and I don't see at all, like, there's no denying that Khamzat is an absolute psychopath in training, so unless he hasn't been trying the last couple of times in training camp, I don't really see how his cardio can get much better from there. So I do really think DDP's the type of guy that'll do anything and can survive that first round. And I really do think after that first, maybe second, even for Khamzat, I really do think if he doesn't get Dricus out of there, Dricus is going to put it on him hard and potentially finish him, I think, in the later rounds via just ground and pound. Like, even if Khamzat's not overly hurt, I think he'd just be finished. You know, he gets really tired. I'm picking Dricus here. He's showed a good chin. He showed solid takedown defense and takedown accuracy, so he has overcome a lot of trouble in his fights, you know, for the first couple of UFC fights. And up until that, I think it was up until the Robert Whittaker one, it was in the Darren Till one, might have been his last fight with it. He was fighting with like a deviated septum, had breathing problems, and that caused him cardio issues. But I think out of the both of these two, the ADP is the better cardio, and I don't really know if I can see Khamzat getting rid of him in the early rounds. So I'm going to pick Dricus here, and I'm going to take him to get it done by stoppage, potentially decision, but the stoppage will go. And one other thing, I think if Khamzat does win this fight, even if he gets it done the first round by choke or something, I do think DDP is the type of guy that deserves an instant rematch. You've seen guys like Sean O'Malley get one after one title defense. You know, this would be Dricus' third attempt at defending the title, so I think he's deserving of another title shot immediately if he does lose. Let me know what you guys think of this fight and this card down below in the comments, the undercard as well. Like, subscribe, follow on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter.